Hi everyone, and welcome to our 16th webinar today, which is absolutely fantastic. Today we're going to be covering back roads, and just before we start, could I ask you all just to kindly put your screens off, so just mute yourself and stop your videos, because we're doing a different format today. We're actually doing a Zoom format, and if anyone has any questions, they can just put it into the chat area. But it's really exciting. We have a fantastic guest all the way from Australia, from Sydney. So I'm going to introduce you to Nat and Dylan. Hi, Nat.
Hey, hi, Charles. Happy spring.
Happy spring on this beautiful, fresh spring day with all our florals.
Yeah, Dylan.
Hi, Dylan.
How's it all?
So Dylan's with us from Aussie. It's like late at night, but he's with us in force. So let's make this exciting for you, and go ahead, Nat and Dylan, and we'll chat later.
Awesome. Thanks, Charles. So Dylan, now not everybody may know this about you, so it's quite important that we just clear the air, that you do have some South African heritage. Is this true?
It is very true. I was actually made in Cape Town, but born in Sydney. So I lasted -3 months in my mother's tummy, and then we moved across to Australia from there. And I've been stuck here ever since.
And the important thing that we must know when it comes to sporting events, where do your loyalties lie, and do you know the South African national anthem? Before we talk about
the first verse of the anthem, and I depending on who's playing who, and if it will annoy my father or my mother, I'll switch allegiances just for the cause. But I need to spend more time researching rugby. I've let that part of my life go a little bit too far. So I have to learn some more.
No, that's okay. You know, I think we can look past that, and because you're such a strapping gentleman, I think we'll be fine, and we are happy to continue with this interview. Thank you so much for that. It's very much appreciated. So Dylan, thanks. Dylan is the head of sales for Backroads, based in Brisbane, or Vegas, as everyone likes to call it. So thanks really so much for joining us, and for the time difference, we massively appreciate your time. And of course, Backroads is an amazing product, but not everybody knows about it. So if you would like to just tell us, how would you describe Backroads in a nutshell?
I think probably the easiest way to understand who the Backroads customer might be is someone who may have done, the cliche Europe before. They've seen the Eiffel Tower, they've been to the Colosseum, and they've ticked all those boxes. And as part of that journey, they, I'll use Italy, they fell in love with Italy, but they just didn't do enough of it. I think Backroads is the perfect vehicle to then take them and really immerse them in the destination far more than any other company can do. I think the length of tour that we offer in the regions there isn't time inhibiting, so it can be a part of a grander journey. It can be a segment of a journey, or it can be just the reason you went potentially to Tuscany to drink some more wine and eat some more focaccia and be involved in it all. I think what we offer is a much more immersive way of doing the experience, and that's why I love it so much.
Okay, awesome. And I mean, how many Backroads have you been on? I can see there's a couple there in the pictures that you've done. How many have you done?
I've done a few. I try and with the 30 hours of flying with stopovers from Australia to Europe, you try and maximize your time when you pop over to the office. So we still have the UK office. So in a pre-COVID world, I was over there quite a bit. I assume if they ever open up the borders again, I'll be back over there again soon. So we'll see what I can knock off. I had Malta and Sicily on my list for this year, but they might have to go into next year now.
Yeah, totally. So like, what is it that you love about it? Like when you tell, this is the absolute thing that you love about Backroads, what is the one or two things that you absolutely love about it?
I think that the local guides and / the food experience. I think to have guides that are Italian, that are French, that are German, gives you a real essence of the country. They're talking about their backyard. You may have researched that there's a famous dish or there's a famous thing to see, and you've got some free time. You're like, oi, how do I do this? And they know it. I think the small group environment means everyone gets a piece of the tour leader. You don't just have the people that sit at the front of the bus to get a chance to speak to them, but with 18 people, it's easy. Everyone has tactile time. And as you get to destinations, you're on and off the coach a hell of a lot quicker than you are off a 50-seat coach as well. So I think for me, it's an ideal way of really knowing a destination greatly. And I think eating some amazing food, which is the key part of our program.
That's awesome. And what kind of accommodation, how would you describe the accommodation on Backroads? I
think the accommodation talks to the region that we're touring through. So, I mean, I know there's a comfort in selling a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star. And I appreciate that from a travel partner point of view. But I think to be able to stay in a castle versus a Hyatt, I think to stay in a traditional Tuscan villa versus a Marriott. I mean, I think if you're going to spend the money to be traveling to these destinations, you can stay in those hotels in Cape Town. You can do that organically at home, but you've spent the money to learn about a destination, get involved in that destination. The reason we can't use star ratings is a 400-year-old hotel might not have lifts. You might have to take a flight of stairs to get to your room. But that's the experience. That's why you've traveled that far, to go and immerse yourself and understand what happened 400, 500 years ago in all these fantastic European towns. I think that is the quintessential difference between a Backroads tour, which travels on the back roads of Europe, versus your cliche capital city bound, major city bound, normalized 4-star, 5-star hotel based kind of touring. And I think there's a market for both, 100%. And I think the first time traveler, the big coach can be an exciting and easy way of doing it. But I think once they've done that and they've ticked that box, I think Backroads sits firmly as the best way to do their second, third, fourth, etc. trips post that.
No, totally agreed. And, you know, talking about the Backroads, and you can't do Backroads without the little vehicle. And you can see in the background there, the Mercedes Sprinter. I think some people might be concerned that it looks really small, but what are the travel times like from, you know, village to village or city to city?
Yeah, I'll stick with village to village. I think that you actually nailed that on the head there, Nat. But, you know, if you look at our program, and I grab any brochure in your shop, open it up, grab my brochure, open it up. We're not traveling multi-country series. You're not traveling for 4 hours at a time, getting from Amsterdam through to Bruges or wherever it might be. You're traveling intra-country. You're traveling from London via Bath to, you know, to Dartmoor National Park. You're on the coach for, at any particular, the longest drive you'll be on board is 1.5 hours.
That's amazing.
So, you know, we're not traveling vast distances. And even, I spoke to one of our tour directors from Italy, and we have the Italian Indulgence, which is our 13-day wonder from Rome to Venice. And there's no drive which is over 1.5 hours. And he finds it quite surprising that you can traverse that whole country and not have any long spell on the coach. You're just going bang to a village, bang to a town, eating, drinking, walking, seeing, doing, sleeping, generally 2 nights, away you go. The small vehicle, just for a good little plug here, allows us to stay in towns like Lucca. Now, Lucca's a walled city. Big coaches can't even get anywhere near the big city. They visit it. So keyword here, visit. We stay. And we're having 2 nights in this town. So really, I mean, the DP team are amazing. Asking the silly questions, because the silly question will get you a great answer. But just knowing those little small details to really identify what the difference between the programs are will make it a truckload easier selling to your customer, I can guarantee it.
No, totally. And I think people don't fully understand, you know, when they're going to get on a big coach and they're on these massive motorways, how much of your time is literally spent on the highway. You know, they're like, well, people are always worried about travel time, when the reality is when you're on a back road, you are constantly seeing something amazing. It's not any time of your day wasted on a motorway. So that's something really, you know, to let your clients know that it's all about the experience, and it's an all-day experience with back roads, which is amazing. Now, the big question, our favorite, COVID, everybody loves that word, said no one ever. So, you know, do you, well, we just got to roll with it, hey, the gap year from life. What are your thoughts on, in terms of, obviously everyone's looking for a different way to travel post-COVID. So what are your thoughts on, you know, updates with post-COVID and Backroads as a great solution for post-COVID travel?
I think in a positive way, we haven't had to change too much in what we do. I think with border blocks and, you know, the inabilities to traverse between certain country groups, and our 90% of our product is sitting as a singular country, will allow your customers to do the detail within that country quite easily without the risk of potentially having to have isolation periods, etc. I think, what we're doing, because of the World Health Organization is, retraining the tour leaders in what they need to be doing to make sure that the coaches are clean. So that whole level of, cleaning the coaches will be lifted, just has to be, it's legal now. The sanitation base, we do recommend and we do advise as part of our correspondence back through DP to your customers that they'll need to bring their own mask with them. We advise to bring sanitation, the special liquid alcohol to wipe on your hands, to bring your own bottles because we don't want to share bottles and things like that. So little simple things like that, but that will keep updating. And via our website, we keep that updated as far as it's one of the top links that comes up on our Backroads page, just so that if you're like 2 months time from this discussion and you're looking at it, you can go on and have a bit of a refresh just in case things had changed across the way. But we're really mirroring what the World Health Organization is stipulating. And we've just received a special stamp we can add to our product, which I just received before this phone call, so I have to have a look at it too. But it gives us the tick that we're abiding by all the needs and requirements. And that's not just the coach and our tour. In essence, it's our partners, it's our hotels, it's the places we visit. And to touch on that, guys, once again, the places we visit, now we're traveling on the back roads. We're going to small, out of the way, different destinations. And we're like a river cruise on land, realistically, with where we're visiting. But we're not at the Eiffel Tower. We're not at the Colosseum. We do not have 10,000 people trying to line up to get into venues. Okay? We're going to places where ideally it's us. We are 18 people getting into venues. So you're not worrying about being immersed around thousands and thousands of people where the risk can then lie and the transmission can come up as a threat potentially. You'll find on the Backroads experience, just by nature of how we design our tours, you are quite safe in the sense that you are in the middle of a unique country versus being right in the mix of that capital city.
No, totally. And I've just thought of an actual great solution. You said, it's all about taking your own bottle with. So how about if we just drank from a bottle of wine instead of, wouldn't that also, minimize the risk? You just don't share the bottle, just keep the bottle and drink it to yourself. And also vodka, you can use it as sanitizer. So, there's many ways around COVID. I think we all need to just be more positive about it. So, there are other ways.
Thank you.
No, I'm always a forward thinker. You know how it goes. So I want to chat about the top trips and what do you reckon are the biggest sellers? And, we put a couple of DP's top trips. So what do you think are the top trips for us? Oh, it's coming. There we go.
Yeah, cool. I mean, out of this list, I could spend 3 hours going through it all, but I think the Corners of Cornwall will remain relatively our top trip, and the Rick Stein dining experience. We're the only coach company in the world that has an ongoing reservation at Rick Stein's Seafood Restaurant in Padstow, is a quintessential seller there. What else do I like? My favourite combinations there, the Iberian inspiration combined with the Discover Portugal. And just to let you know a bit of a stat, I'll put it on the screen for you as well, but 35% of all our clients do them as back-to-back, and they're designed as a back-to-back venture. So you're going from Madrid via Lisbon all the way up to Porto. It's an amazing way to do it. And from there, again, because I'm a gastro tourist, the Tuscan treats rates extremely highly. When you're sitting with the Italian nonnas and you're making focaccia and you're drinking the wine, and that's the experience you want, kids. That's why you traveled that far. I think out of all of them, there's some amazing options, and I'm sure if you go through and qualify your customers correctly, there's going to be a tour in our brochure that will suit you and also them.
Well, Dylan, actually, that's one thing I want to discuss about Rick Stein's restaurants. And, with a lot of operators, it's always optional extras, but not a lot of people that know that with Backroads, everything's included. So something like going to Rick Stein. Yeah, so maybe you want to just touch on how everything's included a little bit like that?
Yeah, that's the price you see with DP is the price it's going to be for your customers, which I think is a surprising hidden cost sometimes with some operators. Everyone does that a little bit differently, so to each their own. But yeah, if we're saying it's it's 10 bob to go and do this tour and see the sights and delights. And it includes experiences like Rick Stein's, or includes a sherry tasting, or going to a deep hamon curing center and eating fresh ham straight off. I mean, those experiences are all included. There's no additionals for that too. So, you know, if you're budgeting, and I know budgeting will be hyper important post this wave of epidemic or pandemic, realize that the money you're spending is ideally just the present money they need to bring back, and maybe a couple of wines with their dinner, because when we include the meals, we don't include the drinks, but for all your sightseeing and ins and outs day to day is included.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a bonus, especially from a South African perspective. It's not nice when you get somewhere like, oh, by the way, you need another 40,000 million rands, you know, because of the exchange rate. But that's awesome to know. Thanks. And we have a couple of new trips that you're quite excited about, that I know you wanted to chat about. So
yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting year, and we actually had 3 more new trips that we had to put on pause. So I'm looking forward to this update next year in the real world, because we've got some exciting trips coming up. But to launch the Taste of the Camino was advantageous, and it will come up later in the conversation. But this is an amazing tour, really just harnessing that northern region of Spain. Many of you might be familiar with the Santiago de Camino walk, where you walk for 12, 13, 30, 40 days. Why? To each their own again, but you get to see where their finishing destination is in the Camino. You get to travel around one of the tracks. You're not actually walking the track at all, but you'll see some of the towns they'll be walking through. And it really is an untouched and really undervisited region of Spain, finishing in the wonderful town of Bilbao, which is absolutely beautiful. And if you have the time, it's worth Googling the Hotel Altamira as well. It's a beautiful property in Santillana del Mar. It's beautiful, 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 and really unique and custom to the destination. So it's worth having a bit of a squeeze.
Awesome. And the second new trip that you've got, there's another one.
Yeah, the English Country Gardens is an amazing tour. Yeah. So what's happened is, I mean, once again, being a small group operator and really being able to harness on, you know, focusing on one key point of a destination, the gardens have been continually successful for us. We've always had the Chelsea Flower Show, and we continue to run that tour. Last season, we launched the Hampton Court, and went really, really well again. So what we decided with the Hampton Court schedule is to have it as a continual program throughout the year. So if you've got any customers that have a flora or like doing gardening tours, this is an amazing option that we continue through the whole season. We will then have identified dates for Hampton Court, which is famous for Princess Kate. She goes to Hampton Court every year. And also the RHOS Wisley Flower Show as well. So they're 2 super popular dates. I would recommend booking them early. But if it's just the garden focus that your customer's after, it will run for the full season.
Awesome. And you know, the big thing with a lot of agents, I know you've got the feedback, I've got the feedback before, you know, the trips are too short, or, you know, no one's going to fly over for such a short trip. But what a lot of people don't really know is that you can pair a lot of the trips that have been designed for back-to-back, and even, you know, to pair it up with the cruise. So I know that's your specialty, and you do enjoy chatting about that. So please, chat to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and I'll take you on a bit of a journey now. I mean, just to talk to Nat's point there quickly, nearly every tour has an option to back-to-back, and you may have seen in our brochure on the bottom right-hand corner, we used to have a suggestive for you to look at there. But realistically, I mean, I'm going to talk from the Australian market, so apologies, but it talks to the story. But the average Australian travels to Europe for 23 days. Backroads does not offer a 23-day tour. So why the hell would you travel with Backroads? All right. Now, in the UK, which is our base, literally every tour connects with every tour. We have that much frequency in program that you can do the Corners of Cornwall onto the European Garden Show, onto the Highlights of Britain, onto a Scottish journey, and make it one complete sequence. That works organically because we have volume in UK. But in areas like I mentioned in my top 10 or DP's top 10 tips, the Iberian Inspiration and Discover Portugal is an organic mix. We deliberately line those 2 tours up. Now, This really enhances your understanding of the southern part of Spain, finishing off in the wonders of Portugal, which is great. But a nice short tour, and to give you scope, Lisbon to Porto on a train is 2.5 hours. We're doing 9 days to do this trip. Okay, so once again, you're not traveling long. You're staying in some amazing hotels. You're cruising on the Douro River. You're finishing in Porto. You have had a wonderful time. But hey, you still had some more money and you had some more time to travel. So you could potentially even look at, I don't know, adding on our brand new tour, the Camino tour from Porto through to Bilbao. Once again, touching on the northern regions of Spain. Finishing in Bilbao, going, shit, I really could do some more. I want to see some more of this destination. Give it to me, Backroads. Give it to me now. And we move on to the highlights of northern Spain. Now, if anyone knows my product well, they'll realize we have flipped this tour on its head. This used to be Barcelona through to Bilbao. But to allow that sort of seamless connection between all of the tours, we have turned this on its head. And it will now travel southbound from Bilbao through to Barcelona. What this now gives you customers, if they have more time again, is ocean cruising. So anything in the Western Mediterranean will connect up. There's daily departures depending on your cruise line of choice from Barcelona, which is advantageous. But I would definitely spend another 4 days in Barcelona to enjoy all the food, wine, and sights and delights. It's one of my favorite cities in the world.
No, awesome. I enjoyed that, and I'm totally ready. And I do think Portugal is one of the most underrated European countries. People do not give Portugal enough credit, so I totally agree. It's small, and from a South African point of view, it's very affordable as well. So yeah, and you know, I like the whole fact of, I think a lot of people, you know, they're like, okay, we can only sell cruising or we can only do land, but it's with Backroads, it's such a good opportunity to combine the two. So totally, that's an awesome idea. And just putting the idea out there, you know, 2021, it's going to be the year of the combination.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just triggered on that point again. And I mentioned ocean cruising because I'm finishing in Barcelona for this example here. But, you know, we know river cruising for that, you know, especially with COVID coming up, it's going to be a safer and easier, you know, no oceans, no rough weather, an immersive experience kind of thing. So once again, I'm going to use my 23 days as that guideline as to what I'm going to try and package for my customer. But we can do our Austro-Hungarian experience, which is Vienna through to Budapest. And then you can add on from there Budapest to Amsterdam, Budapest, Basel, whatever your customer and the example A Rosa could do on that particular journey. Also knowing from that, you could then do a river cruise and potentially go on the traditional Amsterdam through to Budapest. And from there, take our Eastern European Explorer, which is Budapest all the way through to Prague, which I think is one of the best combinations for that. It ends up being just on 30 days, but an amazing deep dive into Eastern Europe there. Some beautiful towns you've never heard of before. I think you're going to come out with a knowledge base, understanding, and a love of that region more than you ever could have before. But once again, when you're looking at Backroads, and although we can do back-to-backs up to 7 combinations, that's amazing. Your customers might not want to be on a coach the whole time, and I appreciate that. But let's give them that 2 or 3 week experience via other means. And I think the river cruise and the ocean cruise combinations with Rome and Venice, likewise with Budapest and Vienna, will give your customers a wealth of choices to sort of create that idealistic trip, which is not customized. It's what they want to do. You're building it for them as their chosen travel partner.
No, totally. That's awesome. And then last but not least, you know, everyone's looking forward and, you know, we have to go to 2021 because this year stuff is not happening for travel, but how are sales going for next year? Is everyone booking or how's it looking?
Yeah, globally, we're seeing a good trend week on week. Obviously, it's not the numbers that we had in the real world, but no, definitely there's been a positive swing coming back in that optimistic world. What we're noticing later season is the idealistic choice for customers. So we're seeing July through to October departures outselling the early departures. And I just think it's for that, when are the planes going to fly again, realism, but they know they will fly. So they feel more secure in the second half of the season. But, you know, for us, September's always been our top month. So when we look at those sales, they're week on week, we're having great numbers. They're sitting in that August, September bulk, which is almost organic and almost normal. We have got reduced numbers of departures just circumstantially, but for the upcoming season, I think we've got plenty of opportunity, plenty of range, a couple of new tours. If you've learned anything today, you might think more laterally about what else I could be giving to my customer when I'm suggestive of a tour, which then could make the selling experience a lot easier for you guys. And I know the team at DP are well equipped with all the backroads knowledge and product. Plus, they can harass me generally whenever they want as well. So if it's a deep, dark, hard question, they can always get on the call and check it out with me before they get back to you as well. So we're here to work with you and to make your sales experience as easy and as seamless as possible. And we welcome all the support from South Africa with Backroads through the ongoing, shit year we're having now into the positive year of 21 and 22 that we got coming up hopefully soon.
That's amazing. Dylan, you are such a treat. Thank you so much for your time and for staying so past your bedtime. I know it's like, it's time to get to bed, the hard worker, but you are amazing and the product's amazing. And, we're just so grateful for your time and we have faith that next year it's going to rock. So thank you so much and have a most delightful evening further. We'll set you free. Thanks,
See you all, and I'll hopefully back in South Africa sometime soon, once again when the plane's allowed to see, because all of my family is still there, so I do need to come back sometime soon.
Yes. Get back to your roots. You've got to know where you came from before you know where you're going. That's what they say.
Preach.
So have a great
Thank you, guys.
Ciao. Shelley, are you back with me?
Nats, how's it?
How's it? So what is your favorite thing to do in spring, Shelley?
I've just seen this bush has just grown since we started the webinar. Do you know what my favorite thing is in the whole world is to go truffle hunting? Have you ever done that, Nats?
No, Shelley, it's so weird that you say that because truffle hunting is literally my favorite thing to do as well. And, obviously with Backroads, it's all about the experiences. And one of the experiences that you will do on the 13-day Italian indulgence is go truffle hunting in Alba.
Absolutely.
But obviously, there is nothing quite like truffle hunting in Stellenbosch in midstream, right? So how do you feel about taking...
Got to innovate, hey?
No, well, this is it. I don't see why we still can't have truffles. So how do you feel about taking Olive? This is Olive and Gypsy over there. They are vicious truffle hunting beasts. So we thought that we take them. I've just got to get to my garden. So if you just give me
you go to your garden. I'm going to pull my garden in.
Okay, well, there we go. Right. So cool. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's see. All right, Olive, Beast, go.
Olive,
go.
And Gyps, go. Beast, Gypsy, quickly.
Go.
Fantastic.
Okay, I've got one.
I've also got one. Check, Max.
There we go. All the way from Italy.
Yeah, what is yours?
Mine's a Ferrero. Well done, Olive. We're very proud of you. Well done, Gypsy.
What happened to you, Nats? You seem to have disappeared.
I just came to show you my truffle, but
me too. Look, it's a golden truffle.
The golden nugget. Well done. We really do have the best truffle hunters in all the land. So if
do.
anybody needs any advice on how to do truffle hunting, please let Shelley and myself know. But other than that, have a happy spring, everybody.
And thanks for joining us, everyone. It's been epic.
It's been
Cheers,
epic.
guys.
I'm going to go enjoy my truffle.
Me too. Thanks, Max. Bye.